Well, I keep putting off searching for the bias signal on the CPU B top board. Maybe I'm just scared of approaching it, but anyway, I thought I'd have another go at this record EQ board. Now, the problem is that the signal in one channel is about half that of the other, with no real explanation as to why. I've taken all of the electrolytics off and measured them, and they seem okay. I've replaced all the orange caps. As I said, 3 of them were faulty, but it still hasn't fixed this difference in level. So the next step is I'm going to just use my meter and just go over each of the transistors to see if they're okay. There may be some FETs in here, which always difficult to measure unless it's a dead short. Although perhaps my little transistor tester might know how to measure it. I might try that. We shall see. The op amps, well, they should be okay. Anyway, I won't know until I find out what it is. So I'm going to get the meter and measure what transistors I can and see if I can find anything. Hi again. So those two are okay. So that's 4 transistors checked so far. 1, 2, 3, 4. We have now 2, 4, 6 left. So I'll go through those. Well, I measured all of the transistors and they all came up okay. So, well, it's disappointing. It means that I don't know why it's low in level. So the only thing I can do now is to put some test points on. So I'm going to look at the circuit diagram here, and I'm going to solder in some wires which will come up out of it, and I can then see if the signals are equal then at various positions. Now I can see a few already. There's the output of 2 op amps, left and in the right. The final op amp feeds the output, which we know is low anyway, so that's 4 test points to solder on. I think that should give us a really good clue as to where the problem may lie. I'll do that. I've got hundreds of meters of this particular wire, so using a lot of it is no problem. .500 meters was on this reel originally, so yeah, quite a bit. Okay, I've put in another couple of wires to look at the output of the REC EQ amp, the output of IC 303. So hopefully now we can make some sense out of it. Turn it on, put it into record mode. Have the input levels equal. I've got 1 kilohertz going into it. I've got test points on the output of the 3 stages of the op amps in the record EQ amp. With the second stage, that the gain is different. So I have to try and determine what it is that could be causing that. Two major things that would affect the output there, because the output should be low impedance, so it shouldn't matter too much what is loading it. However, there's two things. One is these feedback FETs, which are there for equalization, and also on the input there's probably a logic signal that comes from the RAM code. Alright, well that's sort of good news in a way. Well, it's one less thing. Let's see if there's any signal on it. That's the second op amp, and the output is twice as high as the left one. So, which one is faulty? Well, I don't know for sure, but all I know is that the right channel is twice as high. Alright, so it's definitely okay coming out of the first op amp. Well, I thought there might have been, because there's some circuitry following it, I thought it might have been a bit off, who knows. But anyway, that R218, R118 separates the stages, and on the first op amp side they're both exactly the same. So I think I can finally discount those first op amps. Okay, so whatever it is, it's happening in the second op amp. Now the second op amp, there's two input pins. There's like a null input and a negative to ground via a capacitor sitting at 4.4 volts. They're both 4.4 volts. I measured that, so they're good DC wise. And the capacitors, there's no AC on there, so they're probably doing their job of shorting the AC to ground there to make the op amp work correctly. So this only leaves 202 and IC 102. This is the multi-wave FET. Now which one is faulty? I could take them both out and just leave in R222 and R probably 122 as the feedback. I think I might do that. It means taking out two ICs, but I suspect one of these FET switches is not working correctly. Now the thing is, it could be the control to it from the decoder chips IC 306, 307, 203 and 103. It could be one of those as well. Well, a quick multimeter check across all of the FETs in the feedback circuit on chips IC 201, 202, 101 and 102 didn't come up with anything. It might be just easier to replace those two chips anyway. So even though I couldn't measure those FETs with the multimeter as being faulty, like a short or something, might have gone open, who knows. So can't be anything else. The fact that it's almost exactly double means that yeah, if one of those resistors in the FET feedbacks, if one of those resistors, for example, the main resistor is 10k, and if one of these went in, for example, 16K, if that got into circuit, that would halve the resistance, which would halve the voltage. So it could well be, yeah, one of those FETs in that IC 101 or 102. I think that's what I'll have to do. Now, it is, what sort is it? What kind were they? It is, I'll have to look it up. Oh, I'll just look at the chip. Alright, they are 4066. Oh, actually, I might even have some. Well, I might be in a bit of luck. I knew that the 4066 FET switches were to be replaced because of their HiFi credentials. The idea was to replace the original 4066s with 4066 CPD, which is meant to be a much better one. And there's 6 of them on the REC EQ amp, the one I'm looking at, and 1 on the main board. Now, the one on the main board is probably should be replaced as well, but it turns out I actually ordered 6 of the CPDs, and so I have them all ready to put in, the good ones, the 4066 CPDs. So that was a stroke of luck that I'd already organised the higher quality 4066 CPDs. The one on the main board, I don't know why I didn't order 7, so maybe that wasn't included in the requirement. Now, with the REC EQ AMP PCB, the reason they're important is because they're in the feedback circuit for the op amps, and so thus they're causing, they're basically in the audio path when recording. Alright, well I might just get 2 and change all 4 of them. Hopefully it'll fix my half signal fault. So I'll tell you how it goes. 2, 3, at 3.5 on the right, and on the left 3.5. Brilliant. So they're now both equal. So that almost it's almost a certainty that one of those 4066 feedback FET chips was faulty. I think we've done it. By George. If we look at those, yeah, this is looking at the output of the REC EQ AMP PCB on the output pins of IC303, pins 1 and 7. We've got the same scaling, and they're almost identical. If I just slightly tweak the line input knob, I can get them exactly the same. Wow, thank goodness. Well, that's a real big, yeah, they're just slightly out in level, but there could be adjustments for that anyway when I get around to calibration. Ah, wonderful. Ah, wow, what a success. Let's play, or tape, source. Tape, source. Now, I don't know what the levels are, but just going by the sound. So, now is it both channels? Yes. Wonderful. Yes, success. So, we now have a record signal going all the way to the record head, a proper signal, and also the as from before, the playback is working. We don't have proper recording because we haven't got the bias working yet. So that is now definitely the next thing to do. So it was a choice of either doing the bias first or the getting that level right in the channels. So I just ended up doing the, I couldn't help myself. I had to try and find what the levels were and why they weren't right. So it turned out it was an IC with FETs that go across the feedback loop of IC302, causing it to go down in level. So one or more of those FETs was shorting, or was on when it shouldn't have been. Tape source. Ha! What a great thing to be able to say. Of course, the hard bit with this machine will be when I try to start looking at the computer side of it. To be honest, I'm not looking forward to that at all. Not sure if I want to, actually. We'll see. We'll see. But once I get the recording and playback sort of working, I really should get back to the display module. It'd be nice to be able to see what's going on with the display, fluorescent display. Yeah, don't know why I was having so much trouble with it. No matter what I replaced it, it wouldn't come good, but there'll be a reason. Anyway, I'll take this as a success, and we'll leave it for another day. And I might go and have myself a beer now, fixing another fault. Yay! Yay team. All right, good night.